It's wonderful to have everybody here in this open mentoring session tonight with our panel of speakers from last year's first mentoring group for women in mining South Africa. So thank you everybody for taking the time out this evening to join us. I really hope you're going to enjoy the session with us. My name is Bryony Lieber. I am part of the Women in Mining South Africa mentoring subcommittee, along with my colleagues Pity Peko, who is also an alumni from last year's mentoring group, Andre Legrange, who joined us this year on the mentoring committee, and Raksha Naidu, who is hopefully still in the room, joining us all the way from Canada today. And the objective of this evening is really to start what we want to see as our approach for mentoring going forward. We have constituted a private group of young women professionals in the mining industry for this year. I think we have 34 mentees, and we meet 3 times a month. But we also want to extend the things that we talk about to the rest of our women in mining community. And so the concept we've come up with is to share one of our sessions, specifically the panel session, with our community on a monthly basis. And this is the first session that we're doing of that kind, and you will see that going forward, every second Tuesday of the month, we'll have an open mentoring session for everybody to benefit from. And we really hope that you're going to join us, because we're going to be talking about some very exciting topics. Next month, we're going to be talking about how to optimize your career value chain. The month after that, we're going to be talking about your thinking preferences and how to leverage those to be impactful. And then I think the month after that, we're talking about inner critics. So that's the lineup for the next couple months. But today, what we're starting with is a panel discussion from a few of last year's mentees who are going to tell us about their experience of the mentoring program last year. And we want to also welcome formally our 2022 mentee group and make them visible to our Women in Mining network. So the first thing I want to do is let you all know that if you're a 2022 mentee, we'd like you to put your video on. For everybody else who's not a 2022 mentee or part of our panel this evening, we'd like you to turn your videos off. And we want to keep this session focused on our panel and our mentees. So I'm going to ask you to look at, once you've turned off your video, look at the screen where your picture would be showing up, and you'll see there's a few little 3 white dots in the right-hand top corner of your picture. If you click on those, and you'll see a menu come down, and you can then hide all the non-video participants. What that means is then you'll only see the people that we're focusing on as part of the panel, okay? So it makes this a nice focused event as opposed to seeing hundreds of thumbnails. Right, what else do I need to talk to you about? I am going to turn off my video shortly, because I do not want to be the host of the show, because I'm handing over that to Pity and to Andre, and they're going to run the session, host the panel, and keep everything going. I will be in the background, and I really hope you enjoy the session. So, firstly, do we have all of our 2022 mentees online? Have you all put your videos on? Because I know there are a few more of you who are here that aren't on video. So I'm going to give you a few more seconds to put your videos on. And for those of you who aren't part of the mentoring group, I'd really like to ask you to turn your videos off. Because really what I want to make sure is that everybody can see this year's mentees. And I'm going to ask this year's mentees to take their mute off, so put their microphones on, so we can do a nice warm welcome to everybody. So when you're ready, we're going to do a noisy welcome. Take your mutes off. 1, 2, 3. Hello, everybody. It's lovely to see you all.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Excellent.
Everyone.
Right, that's what we like. Okay, so the theme for our program is Show Up and Shine. And we want our mentees from last year to show up and shine, and that's one of the reasons we've constituted this panel, to give a few of our mentees an opportunity to show up in front of our Women in Mining network and to be seen and to shine a light on themselves. We also want our 2022 mentees to show up and shine, and so part of this evening is going to involve some networking. Once we've had the panel session and you've had the opportunity to ask some questions, we'll break everybody up into some small breakout rooms where you can have some small group conversations, talk a little bit about what you heard in the panel, talk a bit about your experiences with mentoring, and get to know each other. Right, I am stepping back. Patty and Andre, you are in charge. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Bryony. I will start by introducing myself. I'm Piti Peko. I'm a production manager at a colliery in Mpumalanga. And yeah, I've been through the mining professional rank, started my career underground as a mining professional in training, went through the miner shift boss route and worked myself to where I am currently now. Academic wise, yeah, I'm a graduate from University of Pretoria and recently also got my MBA. Before I introduce the panel, I would like to give Andrea a chance as well, just to introduce herself so that we can get started.
Thank you so much, Patty, and thank you, Bryony. Yeah, and thank you, everybody. It's really an honor and privilege to, form part of this discussion tonight and to have all of you in this space with us. So I'm Andre Legrandsie. I started my career in mining in human resources about 22 years ago. Worked for various mining organizations, both on a corporate as well as operational level. Been in the organizational development space, predominantly for the last 10 years, and now recently started consulting. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to, to share all the learnings and the insights and the conversation with all of you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Andre. I'm going to start by introducing the panel. If I do introduce you, please just wave so that everybody can see who I am talking about. I'll start with Bailey. Bailey Sibet Tlele is a production geologist at Harmony Gold. She's an accomplished geoscientist, a graduate from Tshwane University of Technology with a BTech degree. And she recently also completed her MBA with Northwest University. She's a lover of nature and outdoor life. And if she's not hiking in her spare time, you'll definitely find her in the gym. So yeah, that's Bailey. Thank you, Bailey. We'll move over to Camille. Camille is currently working at Knights Pisold as a senior hydrogeologist, working primarily with mining, water, and engineering industries. Her skills include geological, I must now get this right, hydrostratigraphic 3D modeling, which feeds into both hydrological and engineering stability investigations and strives to provide a link between geological and environmental aspects in the mining and construction industry. A main focus is to enhance the understanding of the relationship between groundwater, geology, geological structures, and geotechnical engineering, from construction through to underground mine water management. She's got a keen interest in nature, enjoys photography, and she's currently focusing her energy on bird photography. So yeah, that's Camille. Thank you, Camille. We'll move to Annalisa. Annalisa is a quarry foreman at the Douala Carbonates. She holds a mining degree from WITS. And she was also, all of them, like the rest of them, she was a 2021 mentee last year. Annalisa strives for enthusiastic representation in the mining industry and community at large, and aims to start a non-profit that focuses on youth development. That's Annalisa. Thanks, thank you, Annalisa. Chelsea, I'll move over to Chelsea. Chelsea has a background in geology and now works for Rosond, coordinating drilling projects for geotechnical investigations. She's also currently involved in digital transformation, digital transformation drives across the company's operation, and is working on assisting the transition to become paperless in exploration drilling, and incorporating a lot of their work into Power BI and visualizing their operation. So yeah, that's Chelsea. Thank you, Chelsea. And last but not least on our list tonight, we've got Rosiami Mete, 29-year-old who originates from Rustenburg. She's a holder of a degree in industrial relations and labor studies and a certificate in alternative dispute resolution practices. She's currently studying towards an LLB degree. And she has joined the Northern Zonderreiner mine in 2017 and is currently working as a human resource business partner, specializing in employee relations. She's a feminist of note and believes in intentional transformation in the workplace. So yeah, that is Hosiame. So that is our panel for tonight. Very excited and very exciting to have all the alumni, 2021 alumni online. We will go now into our questions. We're going to have conversational panel discussions. If there's any questions, please feel free to type the questions as we are discussing it in the chat. Me and Andre will keep an eye on the chat and we'll try to attend to the questions as well. So I think Andre, you can take it off.
Thank you so much, Bitty, and again, thank you and welcome to our panel tonight. So what we want to discuss tonight is just in terms of getting some insights and feedback and stories from our panel in terms of their mentorship journey that they embarked on last year, how they showed up, you know, some of the myths about mentoring that they believed before the program started, and how those myths have perhaps shifted, you know, their thinking today. So I'm going to start off with asking Josie, can I start with you? And can you share some of your learnings with us in terms of, you know, the journey that you embarked on this platform with regards to being a mentee in 2021, and what the mentoring program meant to you in terms of your own personal shifts and insights, and what were some of the fundamental experience and learnings that you can share with all of us.
Thank you, Andre, and welcome to everyone. I'm very excited about today's panel discussion. So when I applied for the mentorship program, I didn't know that it would be a group-focused mentorship program. So that took me by surprise. But as soon as we started engaging in the discussions, I found that there's so much that I've learned from all the women. I mean, the speakers that came in who shared all of their wisdom and experiences in the mining industry was great. So personally, so let me start. In terms of my personality, I was a very structured person. So I thought that the mentorship program would be very structured, one-on-one, but then I found that there were so many key learnings that I learned. And one of the critical things that I enjoyed was the personal strategy project that we did. So what it did was that we had to learn or be very reflective about our personal brand. And one of the things that I really tried to work on was on my personal core values. And my personal core values have actually changed after the program. And I have a mission statement. I've got new key values right now. And my journey is to work towards ethical, intentional, and authentic leadership. And what the program has taught me is that in your journey and in your career, you will be amongst different people. And I've learned to be understanding of different personalities. I've been able to reflect on myself in terms of who am I and how can I approach my career in a very purposeful way? Because as we know, the mining industry is historically male dominated and you want to be part of the boys club, you know? But I've learned that I have to, and I'm learning to show up for myself, bring my authentic self to work, and also incorporate the tools that the program has taught me. So in terms of what Brony highlighted was about the 4 quadrants. So in that, I will share that it's a very engaging program. It's not too formal. You get to engage with everybody and you get to share. And the one thing that I took away from the program is that it creates a safe network for women, professional women from different walks of life to share their experiences. And some experiences are very sensitive. And it's created a safe environment for us to share, to learn, and to connect. This network is so powerful. The other day I met Bailey at a WIMSA event and it's created a network where we can always talk to one another and share our experiences, and it doesn't stop. One of the things that I've learned also is that it's a journey. And the one thing that when I came into the program, I had a challenge with imposter syndrome. And we probably all have experienced it, that we feel as if we don't belong in certain spaces. But I've come to realize that I deserve to be in those spaces. You know, there are women who are ahead of me, the women that are coming behind me, and I've learned that we can work together. I've learned that there are tools that we can share regardless of whether you're young or old, or you have more experience, or you're just starting out in the industry. So in my experience, after I completed the program, I'm still learning. It's still a journey, and I'm very happy that I joined the program. Yeah.
Oh, Siami, that is so powerful, and I can completely relate. I mean, when we were busy with the quadrants, working through all four the different quadrants, and I realized this just how structured my thoughts were as well. I know definitely personally that I learned how to deal and manage other different people that are dominantly different quadrants. I was taught the different skills on how to manage them, and it has personally helped me in my own career as well. And Bailey, if you want to also add on to that.
Yeah, well, Khusiami has said quite a lot as far as the journey has been for most of us, you know. But to speak mainly on the thinking preference test that we took, I think it also put me in a place where I became more aware of the type of person that I am. You know your personality, and you know that I like this, but you don't know what that is called and why you behave in a certain way. You know, however, that assessment made it clear for you, and maybe why you struggle. And it also made it clear as to why you struggle to connect with the next 2 or 3 people. However, once that was done, it was very easy for me personally to say, okay, now I'm dealing with an L1. So I need to understand that this is how they approach certain things. This is how they would rather have me help them, or this is how they would rather approach the project or what we're busy with. So for me, it was an eye-opener. It helped me a lot. Even now with my team, I don't struggle much. Yes, I'm still learning a few people, but I can see certain personalities as they approach me. So the program is it's intensive. It's powerful. You know, I don't think to the 2022 mentees, you did not make a mistake. Don't, in the beginning, when you feel like you probably don't belong, when you see people who speak a bit better than you, or who are more confident than you, don't feel like you don't belong. I felt like that when I started. I think I missed the very first session, the most important one, because I felt like, do I really want to do this thing? You know, do I really want to be a part of a big mentorship group? Because I thought also, like Khusiami, I thought it was a one-on-one, and then I later on learned that it's a group thing. But then when it started, and I got to experience the warmth, and I got to see that I'm not the only one in the industry who's going through quite a number of things, who's struggling with quite a number of things. We are actually a community. And that's how it has been for the whole year. So to you guys, I think what I want to say is that be intentional about your journey this year. You understand? Set your goals very clear and don't turn back. You know, speak to Bryony, speak to PT, speak to Raksha, speak to everyone who is part of the team. They're going to guide you through it. Don't be in a silo when you guys are on your meetings. Speak to everyone that you can speak to. Find someone who you're comfortable with and speak with them. It has helped me a lot, and I've since shown up for myself, and I've since been very intentional with my journey, and I continue to strive. I'm never going to stop. That's just what I would like to say to you.
Being completely intentional about your career, becoming a CEO of your own career. That's very powerful. Camille?
Just to add on to what they said, that especially with Sami, where she said that it's such a safe place to come and share everything that you're going through at that moment, and how this mentorship program is really helping you at that stage. So I sort of want to share part of my story. So last year I walked into the year and I'm like, I'm going to build my career. I'm going to fight for something. I'm going to go out there and try to find something that I can learn to help me get where I want to be. And I saw this mentorship program, and it said those with 0 to 10 years experience, and I was like, no, I've got 11 years experience, and I so badly still wanted to be part of this mentorship program. And Bryony welcomed me with open arms, and I'm just so eternally grateful for that, Bryony, so thank you. But what I didn't realize that I just started with Night Result for that year, and I didn't realize how intense and how crazy that year was going to be. It was a big change from, you know, a smaller consulting company to now this big corporate company, started in transitioning into like intelligent mining and integrated digital systems. So there's online project management, timesheets, and it was just so overwhelming throughout the year. And it wasn't only overwhelming for myself, it was overwhelming for my team. And I must say that every evening we had a class, a session. I don't know, for some reason, I swear Bryony had put it in order that as soon as I was experiencing something at work, that session addressed what my concerns were. I don't know how it happened. It felt like it was growing with me. But more likely, I was growing with it. You know, because the program encourages you to show up and shine, I was starting to step into roles, into positions that I wasn't not ready for. I was ready for them, but I was uncertain, I was nervous, I've never done this before. And you know what? With those sessions, I was able to do that. I was able to walk in and, you know, through the thinking preferences that were mentioned before, I started to understand people better. I started to then be able to and help my team with this overwhelming workload in it. So I must say, if it wasn't for these sessions, I think I probably would have broken last year. So yes, I've taken so much from this. I mean, from day one, I was already putting things and practicing what we were, you know, taught, encouraged, shone the light. So yeah, no, it was phenomenal actually, and it was, by the end of the year I was exhausted. I'm not going to lie, it was a very, very intense year for me, but I've walked into 2022 with such a different mindset. I've got, you know, the confidence that, you know, I'm no longer this supporting staff type of thing. You know, I've come through, I've gotten over that imposter syndrome, silenced my inner critic, and it's been actually phenomenal. So, you know, welcome, ladies, whoever's managed to get into the next mentorship program, and you're going to love it. Embrace it.
That's really great, Camille. I'm so glad that you gained so much out of the program, and I'm sure our mentees online as well will also benefit just as much this year. Chelsea, maybe you want to also share your experiences?
I hope you can hear me. I'm having some hectic IT issues tonight. Okay, thanks. Yeah, a lot of what everybody else has already said is truly also what I experienced. I think the main thing is that if you are coming into this program and you feel quite isolated, like I was, I mean, everybody knows drilling is a whole bunch of men, and it's changing. The profile of that industry is changing, and it's become more sophisticated, and women are entering that space as well. But up until that point in my career, I was most of the time the only woman in the space. And you entering the program, you might find yourself in a similar place, or the only other woman is perhaps in a different department, not quite technical or not quite HR, just a different space entirely. This is the place for you here now. I found that I was just so inspired by the vastness of careers that women are occupying just within this mentorship group, and that gave me a lot of confidence for our future collectively in the industry. So that's the main takeaway for me. Obviously, the practical tools that the other mentees from last year were talking about are exceptionally helpful. The thinking preferences, how to manage your inner critic, planning your career path and treating it like a business. The tools are just very, very helpful, and if you just sit in the sessions and really engage, you can really get a lot out of it. So yeah, you'll mostly find that you're not alone. The problems that we face are common, and the isolation that you feel is just an illusion. Just keep pushing and keep coming to these sessions. And if you're not part of the mentorship program this year, definitely apply next year, because there's so much value. There's a great community. There's a fantastic professional network, and it's going to go a long way in your life.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. Annalisa, is there something you also want to add?
Thanks, Pity. Welcome, everyone. Definitely take notes. Every session, I think I've always had my journal with me, and I took notes. Definitely, when I joined this session, I had just over a year experience in the mining industry. So I was just coming out of varsity, and it couldn't have come at a better time. When we had the thinking preference session, I just had a performance evaluation. I was about to have a performance evaluation meeting with my line manager, and I could confidently sit down with him and say, hey, I think maybe I best operate in this structure because of 1, 2, and 3, because now I understand why I think a certain way and what environment I would strive in. And obviously, coming into the industry, I had severe imposter syndrome, and I tend to focus on when I enter the room, I'm the only woman there. This is making me different. And I found we had a guest, Mukhaliedi, in one of our sessions, and she actually said, I wrote it down. She said, you need to understand what you bring and what your strengths are, and not what makes you different. So when you are working in the team, look at what am I bringing to the team, and then you will know what value you can add. And by that has really, it changed my whole outlook on last year in terms of how I operated at work. Every space that I was in, my main focus was, okay, what are my strengths coming in? How can I add value? The program really has also resonated in terms of showing up and shine. I like to put my hand up for everything. Anything. Pity was like, oh, who wants to become part of the panel? I'll put my hand up, and I got a great opportunity to be part of a mining engineering podcast as well with exceptional ladies. One of the takeaways again from the program was networking. You are exposed to just a caliber of women that are just beyond. So every session you're learning not just from the mentors, but your mentees as well. And reach out. I've reached out on LinkedIn. I still have a long list, Pity Camille, of people that I'm still going to reach out to and just discuss. Be like, hey, you shared your story. I can relate. This is what I'm going through. If you don't get the opportunity to share it in the panel, in the sessions, because it is quite a safe space, you can actually reach out. And the ladies have been very welcoming and, hi, let's schedule a Zoom session, let's talk. So I think improving networking skills for me has definitely been a big one, understanding myself and what I want to achieve in my career. And yes, the personal branding Khosiame mentioned was very helpful in terms of knowing what are your core values, why. I submitted my core values, and Nikki responded and said, why, please expand. And I was like, wow, hey, now I need to actually sit down and reflect on why I say this is, and it helped me a lot. And I really hope each and every one of the new mentees can just go in with an open head and bring your diaries, write everything down and reflect on what is being discussed and said in the sessions.
These are such wonderful comments. I'm just sitting here in the background smiling from ear to ear. Ladies, we have a question in the chat from Melody, so maybe we can take a break from the panel and get Melody to ask her question. Melody, I'm going to read it out, but if you want to put your video on and elaborate on your question, you're more than welcome to. So Melody's asked, imposter syndrome is what I battle with every day in class at UCT. Despite my supervisor telling me he selected me solely on academic merits, I feel like it was just the universe having pity on me. I definitely need help here. Anybody on the panel want to respond to that and maybe give some thoughts on how you're coping and overcoming imposter syndrome?
I would like to, if I may, because I don't know if it's a UCT thing, but I had the same as a student at UCT, and I think a lot of it has to do with the environment that you're in. It's a very colonial space. A lot of the academic people and the academic staff are very mature, very well accomplished, and it creates this massive divide into, you know, what you need to step in, and it seems quite scary. And I can't say exactly that I solved it throughout my time as a student there, but I did start seeing someone professionally for it, and it helped immensely. So I know that's not really within everybody's means, but the first step to getting over it is actually realizing that you have it. And once you realize that you have imposter syndrome, you just must go all out, like YouTube talks, TED Talks, any kind of resources that you can get to validate your experience and to try and help you overcome it, even if it's just, I don't know, like internal affirmations, whatever you can get your hands on for as cheap as possible. Just do that as a start, but it's forever a work in progress. So it's very scary in the beginning, but yeah, the fact that you think and you know that you have it, it means that you've taken the right step to getting the help that you need for it. It's something that you have to put a lot of time and effort into because you're worth it. You deserve to be there. Nobody feels sorry for you. So stop feeling sorry for yourself. You earned it. You deserve to be there. You are competent. You're capable. And being a student at a very highly regarded institute is quite an intimidating thing. So just remember to congratulate yourself for that every day. And it's supposed to feel difficult. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Chelsea, and thank you for sharing that. I think it is very relevant, and I think a lot of us, I think even with experience that we have built over the years, and whether it's with an academic institution, I'm also doing my postgrad now, but even in the workplace, I think sometimes it does get daunting sitting in a boardroom, especially in a male-dominant environment, you know, with a whole lot of execs around you and much older than you, that you tend to lose sight of your own skills and ability and experience and the value add that you can share, and then having a voice in that conversation. But I see that we've got Camille's hand up. So Camille.
I just want to add to that. I've had classic imposter syndrome majority of my life. And I think many women do, because we're not supposed to be in the mining industry. Complete lie. Okay, of course we're supposed to be. What I also want everyone, I mean, there's several people who have put up their hands saying that they've experienced this imposter syndrome. Firstly, the fact that you're experiencing the imposter syndrome tells yourself that you know that you've got a place to learn, that you are here and you're active in what you're doing. You know that, okay, I don't know everything, but I'm here. So keep that in mind, that you, although you think that you don't know as much as you do know more. But the fact that you think you don't know enough means that you are encouraged, and you know that, okay, I can learn more. So I'm going to go out there and learn more. You've got capacity to grow. And if you think that it's just because, you know, the stars have aligned and for some miraculous reason my name ended up there and it was a complete fluke and accident. It wasn't. You know, you wouldn't actually be in that position if it wasn't for more than just your academic results. It was for your presence. You know, I've always called myself, I'm a geologist pretending to be a hydrogeologist. And I've always joked about that, and I thought, you know, it's funny. And I've got my MSc in geology. I've got no, you know, academic education in hydrogeology. But the reason, and then I kept saying that and kept joking, but that joke was obviously my way of telling people I've got imposter syndrome. I'm sitting here with hydrogeologists. But you know what? That joke has kept me from admitting to myself that I'm a hydrogeologist. I've got 12 years experience in hydrogeology. Okay, when I've started to review a lot of my colleagues' work and everything, and I can pick up these things that a geologist wouldn't be able to. So always keep that in mind, you know, like if you joke, or obviously if you feel that you're an imposter, you've got this imposter syndrome, you're also creating a hurdle for yourself. So although it's very difficult to get over and it comes and goes, like my inner critic often comes up and says, yeah, but what? Leave me. But yeah, so it is very difficult to overcome. But once you start realizing these things and realizing what's holding you back, and that attitude that, oh, I'm not supposed to be here, that holding you back. Girls, you guys are amazing. We've got so much to give, more than what our education is. You know, we bring in more than a hydrogeologist. I'm bringing in my personality, I'm bringing in my life experience. And I often, whenever I'm having a conversation with people, they feel comfortable with me. I'm opening up their team to be able to work more efficiently. I might not be the smartest hydrogeologist in my team, but I make them more comfortable and we end up doing fantastic work as a team. So just always know that it's not just what you have on your CV. It's not just that. It's everything about you. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much for that, Camille, and it is very true. We're not defined by our qualifications or the position that we hold. We bring so much more to the table in terms of our whole being. Josie, I see you raised your hand. Do you want to add something?
Yes, I do. I agree with Chelsea and Camille. And one of the things that I learned in one of the sessions, one of the speakers asked, how has perfectionism affected your quality of life and work ethic? So I took from that once you've acknowledged that you have experienced imposter syndrome, or you're experiencing it, one of the things that we ordinarily do is that we want to be perfect at everything. We don't give ourselves a chance to have failures or acknowledge that we have failures. And also, when you're in that space of perfectionism, you experience anxiety. And that's one of the things that I experienced last year. And I remember someone said that we need to just be kind to ourselves. Just being kind to ourselves and celebrating and acknowledging your small wins as well as your big wins. That sometimes once you've achieved something, you want to go to the next thing, and then the next thing, and the next thing, without even appreciating your small wins. And once you appreciate your small wins, that's when you start having confidence in yourself and being more aware of yourself. And when that feeling of anxiety comes, you're able to pick it up and you're able to acknowledge it and try and be present in your moments. Try stepping back, having a breath, and then coming back once you're ready. Don't force yourself into a situation where you're going to go back into that state of anxiety. So one thing that I've learned, which is very big for me, is just being kind to myself.
Sam, I remember that very well during last year when we actually addressed the imposter syndrome and just learning to be kind to ourselves, learning to to celebrate each and every milestone. A lot of times we don't give ourselves the opportunity to celebrate ourselves. We're always looking around us, looking at what other people are doing, or even looking at the goals that we still to achieve, but we don't take the time to appreciate what we've already achieved and just how much and how great and how beautiful we are as women. I'm going to move on, try to move on from imposter syndrome. It's such a broad and topical topic. Maybe we can have an entire session just addressing the imposter syndrome. But for now, I know our theme on the mentorship program is specifically show up and shine and to pay it forward. And I want to ask our panelists from last year how you guys are paying it forward. How did you show up and shine in your own personal lives and as well as your careers? And maybe I'll start with Annalisa.
Thanks, Piti. So how I'm paying it forward, during our sessions, I reached out to Mogaliedi. I noticed that she was the chair of her WIM organization in where she works. And I obviously wanted to reestablish our WIM structure where I currently work. And I started reaching out to her and networking how we can go about doing this. And she gave me so much advice on what you guys can do, how do you approach the ladies, how do you guys come together. And I'm happy to say that we actually got together with the group of ladies, and actually started the whole process. And now we have a committee, and we were celebrating International Women's Day, by showing appreciation to all the ladies in our organization. So for me, that's a big way of, paving it forward. And I'm currently the secretary as well. So I'm happy and I'm excited and I'm looking forward to this year in terms of just giving back to that organization and that structure and growing as women in our organization.
Can we please just give you a round of applause? That is amazing. Sorry, I just had to jump in
Well
there.
done, Annalise.
Well done.
That's the kind of outcome we like from the program. Actually seeing our mentees grow and involving others as well, growing and other women in the mining space as well. So that's really great. I'm really happy that you managed to get that off the ground. Baile.
Thank you, Piti. So what I've recently done to actually pay it forward is, I was having a random conversation with my GM. So I normally just go speak to him about things that I want to do. And so we're having a general conversation on mentorship just the other day. And this actually, it came to me when I was attending the WIM conference, when someone approached me and asked me about mentorship. And I was like, okay, since so many people are interested in my journey of mentorship, I think I should actually start doing something about it, like actually doing something about it. So I approached my GM. I said to him, you know what, I've been mentored. I am where I am today because of the support that I had from the group that I belonged to, still do. How about, because our organization does not have a mentorship program. You understand? Especially for the very, very low people who don't believe in it, who don't understand it and what it can do for them. So I asked him, how about we start something like that, a program like that? We can just start with 2 or 5 people and we take it from there. And he gave it a thumbs up. So that's what I will be starting off this year. Although, because now I'll be changing companies, I don't know how we're gonna go about it, but I hope it works, and I really hope that I'm able to continue with it, even though I'm no longer with them. And another thing is that I applied for the Bridge the Gap mentorship program for geoscientists. So I'm crossing fingers that it all goes well, and I'm part of the mentors there.
That's great. A mentee becoming a mentor. That's fantastic. Siami, how are you paying it forward?
So one of the few ways that I'm paying it forward is that I'm part of a mentorship program that one of my friends started in Phuket. So what he does is that he has this mentorship program for young kids starting at grade 12 and who are also in university. So what we're doing is that he'll have mentorship sessions with them, and then we would then also help them in terms of especially young kids who want to get into university. So we try and help them to equip them to be prepared for university. And they also have maths Olympiads, and they've got many different programs and sessions that they have with the young kids. So it's called the Tunisi program, leadership program. And if you guys have a chance to look it up on LinkedIn, it's a fantastic program that we can all join into, and we can also support local and small mentorship programs. And then I also reached out to a mentor who was previously in the mining industry, but she's in the banking industry, and that is great as well. Yeah, that's how I was selected to form part of the Deloitte Women in Mining program this year. And one of the attendees is also joining us here, Sonabiso. She's also here in the program. So it's fantastic. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. So if we can move on, if I can ask Chelsea. Chelsea, can you tell us, before you started your mentoring program last year, what was sort of the myths that sort of affected your career journey before you entered into the program, and how did the group mentoring approach change your understanding of mentoring? And how are you now approaching mentoring going forward yourself?
Yeah, okay, so definitely had some misconceptions about mentoring in the beginning before the program. And I fell into the two traps of thinking that A, you need to have accomplished something or other, some unrealistic thing academically or in your working life before you can get a mentor. And B, that your mentor should be somebody who's at the top of their game, and because that's where you want to be at the end of it, right? So I made those two fallacies in my head, and fortunately I didn't get too far down those rabbit holes before the WIMSA program saved me. So coming into this program, the benefits of peer-to-peer mentorship were just outstanding. And also getting to understand how to choose a mentor that was far more clearly explained and I understood. And basically, I think the biggest thing that I took out of it is that, like, don't pressure yourself. Just give it time, because you want it to be something quite sustainable. So what I learned is that you just focus on building relationships in your industry, because one day you might meet somebody, they might need something from you. It's just a mutual thing. So you never know when one of those people might spark something in you that says, hey, I actually want to formalize this arrangement, and can we take this to like a regular mentorship meeting? So yeah, I think definitely start off in a relaxed fashion with your network externally. Just cultivate those relationships, but you'd be surprised at what you can get out of peer-to-peer mentorship, because I got a lot of value out of that during the program. And I definitely see mentorship a lot more differently now. And you don't just have to have one, you can have a few. That's what I want to say.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Chelsea. And I love the fact, the whole the relationship part of it, because I think that is such an important factor in your career, is the relationship building aspect. Any other one of our other panelists that would like to add onto what Chelsea shared, or as any other sort of learnings that they want to, or stories that they want to share with us with regards to their journey? I think Camille's hand were up first, so I'm going to hand over to Camille.
Just to build on what Chelsea said, the myths around mentoring, I think the biggest myth that I believed was that in order to become successful, you need to do it on your own. That, you shouldn't be asking for help. If you are successful and good at what you do, you don't need help. You can go home and read the books and study and everything. You can do it yourself, get where you need to be. Man up. Excuse the horrible phrase, man up. Then what I learned about mentoring, this was the first mentoring scenario that I've ever been in, is that by asking for help, by asking for guidance, you are in fact doing it yourself. You are taking yourself and you're saying, I don't quite know what to do in this situation. And you are making that decision to go ask for help or to ask for guidance. So that whole misconception of I need to do it by myself is just so silly. Why? There are so many people out there who have gone through similar experiences, if not the same, have gone through completely different experiences. And even just having a conversation with someone, you can learn something that you can apply to your own life. So mentorship isn't only, okay, I'm going to go to someone and ask them to be my mentor. It's always great to be able to formalize it like that, but you can look at someone, have a conversation with someone, and if they say something that impacts you in a positive way, makes you rethink something, boom, guess what? They just mentored you. And it's the same, it's in reverse. I also realized that even during this mentorship program, as I said, I'm one of the older attendees. I realized that some of these graduates are going through almost exactly the same thing that I was going through as a graduate. And I was able to actually share my experiences with them and have a mini mentor session inside a mentor session, So just always realize that you're not alone. You can learn something from every single person around you. Just put your feelers out there and be open to hearing different opinions and to taking in everything. Cool.
Thank you so much, Camille. I love that. And I see Bryony's also added to the chat. She loves your energy. I love it as well, because you can see you get so excited about mentoring and sharing sort of your journey and your learnings. And I love the fact that you spoke about, we can all learn from one another. That is so true in terms of the diversity aspect as well. Bailey?
Thank you, Andrew. So I want to agree with Camille when she says she used to think that she doesn't need anyone. She doesn't need anyone in her little corner to succeed. And then that is me. That is me when I was still in school. That is me growing up. I used to think that I don't need all these people. I can do it on my own. I can go to school. I've got the brains. I'll study. I'll do this. I'll do that. And people notice me, people just notice me, and I'll climb the ladder. I'll form networks. But I was not aware that for me to be able to achieve all that, I needed people in my corner. I needed people to speak to. And then 4 years later, after graduation, you get into industry, and then you realize that it's so tough that everyone that you speak to, you have one or two problems that are similar or the same. So you're speaking the same conversation, and no one is helping anyone. You are all frustrated. You are all challenged, and you just cannot get out of this exhausting routine of speaking the same thing over and over again. And that's when I said, maybe I do need someone to speak to. Maybe I do need someone that can actually help me navigate through industry. You understand? It's someone who can help me navigate through life, because it's a journey. You understand? So we don't only need mentors that can help us in a career. We also need peers as our mentors, because we need to be having conversations every now and again. So I learned through this platform that you don't only need a mentor, you need a sponsor, you need a mentor, you need a coach. That's what I learned through this thing. And ever since I learned that, I've invested so much in that. I've invested so much in finding myself a coach, which I have, finding myself sponsors, which I have. And now I have more than one mentors, and it's going very well. It's going incredibly well. That when I think about it, I don't know. It's just been amazing.
Yeah, I can definitely relate, Bailey. And one thing that I've also learned through the program is that just how one can leverage your network. You really get to know a lot of people, and the program gives you that confidence to reach out to people and make a lot of different people your mentors. It doesn't have to be one person. It doesn't have to be one person in your organization, but it can be someone in a completely different environment, completely different organization that can add so much value to your life. I saw Annelisa's hand was up. Annelisa, was your hand up?
Yes, Pixie, I just wanted to add, like, I completely agree with Bailey that you can't just have maybe one mentor. I like to look at it as a board of advisors. You have people sitting around the table, and your personal life, you have a technical mentor in terms of your career aspiration, your peer mentoring. Look at it as people sitting and advising you all around the table in all aspects of your life. I think with me, how mentoring started out, you're told you need a mentor, you must get a mentor. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a mentor. Let me approach this person. Hi, can you please be my mentor? I'm so and so. This is what I like. This is what I'm thinking of going. This is what I see in you. And I think I had the misconception or myth that my mentor is then supposed to tell me everything. Give me the step-by-step guideline on how I need to be where you are, and that's not how it is. Mentorships are also driven by mentees. You need to actually reach out to your mentor. You need to actually schedule a session. You need to discuss your expectations in terms of what are you expecting from this mentorship relationship or program, and are your expectations realistic, and what can be achievable in this time? Can the mentor assist you? And yeah, I think if you're taking that formal route of approaching someone, those are the things that you also need to discuss.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are always so scared of approaching people in high positions to become their mentors. We sometimes have this perception that the answer will be no. What if the answer is yes? So take the leap of faith. If you feel that you want that person to become your mentor, take the leap of faith and ask the question. The answer might just be yes and not no. Andre, you also had your hand up.
No, I was just clapping because I completely agree with Annelisa, and I see, if you don't mind, Betty, I see that Nonseba has posted a question. Maybe one of our panelists can answer. She says, how do you identify someone as a potential mentor?
You don't mind me answering?
Sure, Annelisa.
I think in terms of career-wise, I saw someone and I literally could picture myself being there in 3 to 5 years, and I saw them actually achieving and accomplishing certain things. And I said, wow, I'd actually like to learn, how do I then tackle these issues? How do I then approach this? Because I can see this person doing it. And I approached them and they were like, okay, Annelisa, I hear you. Send me a resume about yourself and your interest in what you like and your skill sets. And they went through it and they were able to say, I actually might not be the best fit for you, but I actually know someone who can. And that person referred me to my current mentor right now. And it's been a great fit. So in terms of career and getting that mentor, I was able to just see where that person was and to say, hi, I'd actually like to be in that level or see what you're accomplishing, and how do I get there? What did you do when you were here? And that aspect of it.
Camille?
So, just to add to that and 2 points really is to firstly identify what you feel you would want mentorship in. Also bearing in mind that you don't know everything that you need to know, what mentorship that you need, because a lot of the time during mentorship something comes up and you realize actually that's what I'm looking for. So always being open-minded about mentorship and being mentored, that is not only, you can learn so much more from someone than their specific skill or what you've specifically asked them to mentor you on. During the course last year, we learned about the different types of mentors, different types of people in your board of directors. And you're going to be touching on that during this year. And it's really mind-opening to see what support system is trialed and tested that Bryony will be presenting to you. Those are the type of people that you need in your board of directors. And then you go look for them, keeping your eyes open. It might not be your boss, it might not be, your colleague or whatever. When you're walking and you're meeting someone and you connect with them, you can ask them or touch that and see, okay, sorry, can't finish that sentence. So just keep open-minded and keep your eyes open. There might be someone out there that you haven't worked directly with, but you, as Anita said, they are inspiring you, then follow through with it. Thank you. Sorry.
Osiami?
You're on mute.
Sorry.
Yay.
Yes, I was saying that one of the greatest platforms that we really use to our benefit is LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, you can put in a search word in there in terms of the career that you aspire to be in. Put it in there, look at the profiles, connect with them, send them a message, and most of the time you'll get a great response from those people. And once you have created that engagement with them, it becomes so easy to connect with people just on LinkedIn. And another thing is that sometimes that mentor may be busy, and you may feel a bit rejected, but start the conversation again, start looking for other mentors. Like Camille was saying, is that you can have a conversation with anybody and they might give you the information that you need. And it might not be as formal as we'd want it to be, but what you're trying to get out of that relationship is to have that person understand where you are and try to be intentional about it, and also show up. You cannot ask for assistance from a mentor and not show up. So we need to meet each other where we need to be, and being consistent and being intentional about creating that authentic relationship with someone.
Thank you so much, Horsey. Wow, what wonderful and powerful conversations we've had tonight, Betty. I think you totally agree with me. I think we can go on and on and on, and we want the conversation to go on, but I think it's now that time of the evening that we want to part ways into smaller groups to continue these discussions. And I'm going to ask Bryony to assist us with regards to the breakout rooms, and maybe just to help pose the question. I'm going to read the question that we want to discuss in the breakout, but I'm going to ask if we can post it just in the chat for you as well. So with regards to International Women's Month that we celebrated last week, and the theme around break the bias. The question or the conversation that we want you to have in your smaller groups is biases are constructed unconsciously from partial and often inaccurate information, and can be challenging to change when we look at the world from our own perspectives. So in the group coaching format, we had the opportunity to hear diverse voices and perspectives. What biases have shifted for you as a result of diversity of the group, and how can you take that into your life and work to support ongoing breaking the bias? So I will post it as well before we go into our breakout rooms, and then I'm going to ask Bryony, if you can just assist us. How long do you think we will have in the breakout rooms, Bryony, before we come back to the main room?
So I think let's give everybody 30 minutes to network with each other. Does that sound like a good amount of time, everyone? Okay, cool. So 30 minutes, so we'll come back at 7:45, and then we'll have 5 minutes to wrap up, and then everybody can go off for the evening. I'm creating breakout rooms with about between 3 and 5 people in each of them, so you can have some nice intimate conversations. And the question is in the chat. Andrew's posted it. You'll be able to see the chat from your breakout room. So use that to prompt your conversation, or just introduce yourselves to each other and have a nice networking session. Okay, I am sending you all to the breakout rooms, and we will see you back here later. Enjoy your chatting. All right, everybody's coming back. Slowly but surely. Okay, Pitty, over to you. Everybody's back.
Oh, thank you so much, Bryony. I'm going to ask anyone on the platform now to just give us quick, brief feedback on their session. How did they find it? What were the discussions about? Did you guys have fun? So you can just raise your hand if you want to give us a bit of feedback. What did you discuss about biases in the industry? Okay.
Pity, I see Ndamulelu. I hope that I pronounced the name correctly. She's got her hand up.
Hi.
Ndamulelu, if you want to put your video on so we can see you, that'd be great.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Okay, I was in group 8, and I was with Michelle, Trish. So we discussed about the biases that we face in our working environment, and this is what we came up with, and also based on on the discussion that we had with the panel. So we found out that we feel discriminated sometimes by the other gender, and with that we sort of think that we incapable. But then to break that, one has to really encourage themselves and to know that because you're in that role, it means you're competent enough. There were other people who could have been there, but you're chosen to be there. It was not favor. You are there for a reason, because you're competent and you're good for the job. You just have to show up and do your part. And then we looked at, we all know that in the past people used to say, no, women are made for the kitchen. So now we felt that that's also a bias that we have to break. So women we have to come out of our shells. We have to come out of our element and really put ourselves out there, not only in the supporting roles, and also apply for those lead roles in the organizations. where we'll be able to mentor other people below you, or where people coming after you, we will be able to see and aspire to be someone like you. And then another point was, if the paths are not there, you have to create it. If, like what I just said previously, that people coming behind us, they can look up to this Ndamulero who was up there and try to aspire to be that lady. So if the path is not there, we actually have to go in and create those paths. So we have to be trailblazers. We have to have that mindset as women. So this forces us to get out of our comfort zones. There's no more time to sit and be settled and say, you know, this is my comfort. No, we have to get out if we want to have something done. And yeah, that's what we discussed. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, and Ndamulelo, that was quite powerful. Being intentional about who you are. Is there anyone else who wants to give us feedback? Camille.
Yeah, sorry, I know I talk so much, but you know, to touch on, and it's something that we brought up in our chats, is that sometimes we find ourselves in a position that we feel we're not qualified for, that, you know, we've gone through a change in our career or our direction, or we really just landed in something that we didn't quite think that we were qualified for, but now we've got it. What we also need to remember is that we're bringing more to the role than just the you know, the baseline, that what needs to be brought. You know, the whole reason you were hired is because you had something special, you had something above all the others. As a woman now who are supposed to be in the kitchen, now we're bringing into a dynamic where we're going to teach them how to cook. And I'm not meaning that in a, you know, I'm going to sit there and make them coffee and stuff. No, we're going to bring our experiences as women, as whatever background we've got. And believe me, your experience and your knowledge that you've gathered over the years is powerful and important. Bringing that into the team dynamic, you're bringing something completely different. You're going to start changing perspectives, and you're going to have ideas that are out of the box. So if you now, so like myself, a geologist, I'm going to now come into a hydrogeologist role, and they're all like, you don't know anything about hydrogeology. Yeah, but I know something about geological structures and how that could possibly impact groundwater. What are your thoughts on that? I can see those structures. I can see them in 3 dimensions. I can see how they're interconnected. But a hydrogeologist particularly maybe won't be able to see that perspective. So you're now opening up your references essentially for that task. So yeah, to break the bias is to welcome people and don't discriminate, especially, you know, like if you, someone's hired, like we're looking for a hydrogeologist and now we've hired someone who's an environmental scientist. Okay, sorry, you're not quite ready for the job, but you know, you could probably do it. Walk in there with your environmental knowledge and apply it to groundwater. And you will start to see that there are so many different dynamics that you can bring to the party. So that needs to break. You need to allow people into your group as well that you're not usually talking to, because their life experiences, you can learn something and you can open up and break the bias. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Camille. We've got Amahle.
Yes. Good. My camera. Let's see. Okay. Holding my paper. Forgive me if you. So and all that one of the
I'm struggling to hear you.
Yeah, we're struggling to hear you. Can you just check that your mic and that is plugged in securely, although
Yeah.
it might just be a bad line. If you want to
switch off my better.
Not really. We're struggling
you can't
we're
get
still
it
struggling.
sorted, perhaps write a message in the group chat.
Yeah.
It's a pity that we
Okay.
can't hear you very well.
All
Sorry.
right.
Sorry,
you
I must
still
say.
want to
Okay, put a message in the message.
Okay. We'll give Tobile a chance.
Hi. Hi. Okay. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Okay, great. Okay, so I was in a group, I think room 7, with Sipogazi, Renee, Neo, as well as Batu Bileng, and we kind of like went through a couple of points, right? But then the first thing that also just, came to my mind when we were told that we need to, discuss, the whole thing about bias, it's just that it kind of makes it difficult, particularly for women in like our industries, to move ahead with their careers. And I think sometimes it's like a very subconscious, I mean, it's not a conscious decision, and maybe sometimes it is deliberate, mainly because they feel that they can't be something that they want to be. But then other than that, with the points that we really have raised, one of them had to be being young in a company and having to manage old people. It becomes a problem. I think for most of us, we grew up knowing that we need to actually respect our our elders and etc. But when you get to companies, it becomes a bit difficult because you have to give out rules. So I think somehow we kind of need to know how we need to stand our ground, and then we also need to understand that we have the positions that we have because we deserve those positions. But other than deserving those positions, it's because we are there and we're appointed to actually be there mainly because of our knowledge and of our skills as well. So I think one of the issues was that sometimes when you are quite young, you can't actually tell an elder person to go do something, or sometimes they'll think you're actually disrespecting them. So I just we're thinking that it kind of kills us in a way, because it makes us look as if we cannot run businesses. Yes, it might also happen to the males, but then as young women coming into leadership positions and having to manage men as well, sometimes it can be a bit difficult. But I think one of the things is that we somehow just need to get over that and know that women are also going to be taking up space. So I think somehow that also comes with the femme attitude that we kind of bring in, and I think also it comes in with respect. And then the other one that we talk about, other than just the older discipline as well as respect, was on the working to increase our representation as women. So this point really talks about, we've been to a couple of industries, and I'm sure maybe the older ones have can also attest to this. When you go to most industries, you can see the technologies were mainly designed for, they are suitable mainly for men. And when you go to a company, they tell you that you can't hold a 20-liter bucket, you can't carry those, and I think somehow they need to stop deciding on what we can do or what we can't do. And I think somehow we need to also show them that just because other people can hold 20 liters, it does not mean that women cannot do that. And I think that somehow we can just put ourselves out there and then just show them, I can hold a 20-liter. Like myself, for instance, a lot of people would just look at me and they'd be like, hey, but why are you like a bit buff or what's it? I'm like, I love weights. And, a lot of people would think that weights are only just for men. And we've seen now in sports that women can do whatever they want to do as long as they are able to do it. So I think that thing of technology and etc. only being suitable for men then, that has changed now. We can create ways in such a way that it fits for both, and it can also work for us as women. So I think somehow that representation of us and being able to do, a lot of things can actually work. And then the other one was that recognizing the achievement and contribution of women. So this point really came to that, if we are women and then we are in an industry, we shouldn't only just be seen as people who just came from school and then they're just there to help. No, it's because of the contribution that we give. I don't have kids, but then I know that there are women who have families, who have kids, but they still go back to work and still perform better. And it's because of the contribution and because of their brains and how they think. And it does not mean that if you have family, you cannot do other things. So I think the best thing in companies that they need to realize is the contribution. They shouldn't look at your private life and then incorporate it with what you have to do at work. So I think somehow our contribution at work should be what matters, and what is outside of work shouldn't be really incorporated or disturbed with what you can actually do at work. So I think those were some of the things that we actually have pointed out. But then most importantly is that a question is that, is society really doing enough, to give the tools that are needed for women? But also, do we really look at society first, or do we start looking at ourselves and what we need to change in ourselves? Because I really think the really future that we need to look at starts within us. And I think if we can actually change that whole, not necessarily change, but then have that transformation within ourselves, then we'll be able to have, ways on how we can deal with a lot of things. I talk a lot, so I will stop here, but those were the points that we kind of mentioned.
Thank you so much, Thabile. Quite a mouthful, but so true, so true. Thank you so much for that feedback. And with that said, I'm going to wrap up the session. It is almost 8 o'clock. But thank you so much for our audience, our panelists, the alumni, 2021 alumni. Thank you so much for participating in today's session. We really appreciate your input. And to our mentees for 2022, we wish you guys all the best. I'm sure you guys have so much wisdom now to carry through into this year. So all the best. Please participate in everything that is offered to you this year. Raise your hand, show up and shine, and really grab the opportunity that has been handed to you. Andre, anything from you?
No, thank you so much, Pity, and thank you, everybody. Thank you to our panelists of tonight, and for all everybody, the mentees of 2022, as well as all the other participants that joined us this evening. It was really powerful discussions. I must say, I've learned a lot tonight. I love the stories, the conversations. It really was a wonderful session. And as Pity said as well, please fully commit and participate. You heard from our mentees of 2021 the commitment that they brought last year and what they gained out of it. So I do want to encourage you to fully engage, fully participate in this year's program. I think it's going to be a wonderful learning journey for all of you. So thank you so much. Thank you very much. Really enjoyed it. Bryony?
And from my side, I want to thank Pity and Andre for hosting the session. You facilitated beautifully. You've kept the conversation going. So really well done. And I know for both of you that this is a first. And you handled it like pros. So awesome. And to our wonderful panelists, I'm feeling quite emotional at the moment because you have shared so powerfully and you've really shone so beautifully, and it's lovely to hear how the program has brought you forward in your journey and how you've taken everything you possibly can from it, and more importantly, how you're paying that forward. If we can have all of our mentees paying forward in the way that you are, we are bound to have a most amazing future ahead of us. So Thank you for sharing with everybody this evening. Thank you for what you are doing, and keep on doing it. I'm really proud, and you should be proud of yourselves. And to everybody else that joined us, I really hope you're inspired. I hope you're going to join us on every second Tuesday of the month, because we're going to be having a monthly panel session like this. And I think there's a huge amount that we can all share with each other and learn from each other, and a community that we can grow together. The session has been recorded. We will make it available to everybody in the next couple of days. So if you didn't have a good network, you can catch it as a recording. Well done, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. See you again soon.